Alright, I got a new wallpaper. Ooh.
What's it called? First, it was like, I was like, I called it. I called the Loth Cat in the episode. I called Morai in the episode.
Morai?
I called Emerald Theron. I called it like
Screamed.
we were on like a 4-hour Zoom before with a bunch of people, and then this literally felt like I just posted a video. I couldn't help it, like a reaction video. I was like, spoilers, obviously, like spoilers. This literally felt like a love letter to all the fans that stuck through animated Star Wars throughout the years, with everything involved. And I was just like I didn't get like emotional or anything during the episode, like Ahsoka or anything. I was just like, this is a love letter. Yeah. Even to like people who read novels and everything. Like there was so much to unpack in that.
Dude, my heart fluttered so much in this episode. Like I was 10 years old watching this.
I wish you all could hear the scream I let out when the minute she said Thrawn's name. Like it was like an immediate shock that went through my body, and I was shaking. And I sent my friends a video. I was like, ah, ah, ah.
Like
I was
when Bo-Katan showed up, I was screaming. With this one, it was more shock.
Well, this one is like we all were like, are they gonna do it? Are they gonna do it? And are they gonna do it in the way we think? You know, there's always a part of me that's like, especially with things like Rebels, where there's just this, there's always this thought of like, what you hold as canon can be let go at any time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm waiting for her to show up with blue lightsabers and then to be like, nah, some people didn't like Rebels. So, you know, like, there's always that part. And when you see it actually like happen and like the way they designed Ahsoka's costume, and it was just like, and there were little moments of her, like when she was talking about Anakin, when she, you know, had these little moments of humor where I was like, wow, that's the Ahsoka I grew up with. Like that's
Rebels
her.
or today. My biggest thing is, will my dad understand this if I don't explain it to him? And
exactly.
if I have to ask myself that, no. And if I have to ask myself, is my dad going to understand who Bo-Katan is, Ahsoka is? And understand, they can understand who they are, but the gravity of what they stand for, that's bad storytelling.
My dad quit watching
I don't think it matters.
My dad quit watching Marvel movies because he had to remember so many storylines to understand what was going on. And the only show that he watches is The Mandalorian. He watched the movies and The Mandalorian. He doesn't like the animated shows. And he feels like Star Wars is becoming kind of like the MCU, and that he has to remember so much. And I try to give like a little crash course before we watch the episode so he's not desperately confused. But he's like, I'm not going to keep watching it if they keep doing this stuff.
Right.
He quit watching after like Age of Ultron because it was too much to grasp. I'm like, oh, you're so lucky you didn't make it to Infinity War. I can't even imagine what would be going through that man's head.
Also,
can we talk about that moment when we heard, you know, a slightly reworked version of Yoda's theme with Grogu in the shot? It was such a like, because it's so weird how almost disconnected, you know, when we first started, it was, oh my God, it's Baby Yoda. And he's grown into such a different thing that connection has kind of faded a little bit more. And her talking about him being in the Jedi Temple and talking about how she's only known another being like him, you know, only one other being, and it was Yoda, and hearing just that, the same, you know, sound that plays when he lifts the X-Wing. And I just like, stopped breathing for a second. It was just such a beautiful moment.
I didn't even notice that.
Did
you pick it up?
That's Yoda's theme.
I did notice that, yeah.
This is like a dumb theory.
You guys are all like film industry people, though. So it's not fair. I love that we're seeing. I mean, this guy was rescued and essentially kind of indoctrinated, but you know, the Mandalorian way is his way. And then he meets this other child that needs to be rescued, just like he was rescued.
Well, it's
And
interesting
he's saving this child from this life that he had, and you're seeing it melt away. I mean, the way he was eating soup in the last episode of just tilting his helmet back. We don't know if we saw him be given food in the second episode of the first season, but they set it aside. He brought it back to his thing. He's getting more and more casual. He's getting more and more comfortable, and he's getting further from who he was at the beginning. So I know I think it is absolutely necessary that it can't, it's something that is necessary to the point where you can't swap out Mandalorian for Bounty Hunter and have it have the same impact.
No, and I think that was we needed a hook to watch this show, you know. I think and even more than that, I think it is important to his character because they picked the most kind of emotionally reserved world for him to come into, for us to literally take this guy who covers his face so the world can't see what he thinks and go, you need to feel and you need to share how you're feeling. And to me, that's just like masterful storytelling.
It's also breaking down these barriers of like masculinity as well, which is cool. But the whole Mandalorian the whole Mandalorian aspect of it as well, needing to be Mandalorian, not bounty hunter, is the honor portion of it.
I loved the way they were able to connect this extending world into, again, you know, it really focused on the three characters that were in the episode, Ahsoka, Mando, and Grogu. And it really felt like it was personal in this thing that when we were thinking of Ahsoka coming in, it was so epic and broad. And they really brought us into a forest and said, this is no different than Yoda teaching Luke and Luke teaching Rey. And I love the connectedness with I cannot train them. That poetry, it rhymes.
Yeah.
All that. But no, I was emotionally moved by it, and I got up out of my seat multiple times. That's for me.
I did find myself cheering quite a bit.
Good episode. I like there was some genuinely good like acting moments. Like you could see Ahsoka's genuine fear at the thought of another Jedi or Force sensitive going down the path that Anakin did, and like you can tell that's what she was thinking about when she was talking about it. I did think her lightsabers looked like those strip lights you get in IKEA. Do you know the ones that like dead long poles? They looked weird, but yeah, on a whole, I enjoyed that episode.
I definitely have more of an appreciation for the episode after talking. I am mostly just excited to see what it sets up more so than what actually happened in it. Because I feel like there's a huge opportunity for them to do so many very wild things with the next 3 episodes, and I'm really excited.
Man, I don't know. This episode was like the only thing I can say to encapsulate it is like yin and yang, because just the aesthetic, it opens up with a forest of dead trees. There's just death all around. They're trying to enter this city, and Baby Yoda's afraid. There's so much fear and darkness, and then you see Ahsoka, and she enters that central fortress and starts to fight the bad guy or the girl, and that's the only place where there's life. But you have the scene where Yoda and Ahsoka and Mando are in the forest, and they're like really the only truly living people in the episode, and they're surrounded by death. And it's like, it's totally like a yin and yang. It's like a beautiful episode to me.
Absolutely. And I also love sorry to interrupt, but the saturation level from the beginning to the end, where, you know, you start off in this dark, grim place and you end up when she exits with the guy, you see these beautiful colors, and it looks like the end of Return of the Jedi.
Yeah.
I even think they might have used a bit of that, the Ewoks like song a little bit woven in there, because it really felt like that moment, and it felt like, you know, Ahsoka has always been that person that brings life to wherever she is, and even though she was kind of a bit of a broken person, she still had that effect.
I mean, is it Ahsoka or is it Morai there, you know, being the embodiment of light, following her around? Hannah,
when she first was introduced, it was like so casual. There was no grand reveal, and I was like, already? That's it? She's just there. Like, she popped in. I was like, all right, I guess that's what we're going with. But very quickly it became like a thing where she was just like disappearing and appearing very I don't know, ethereal, and like it was very different from the way her showmanship in the Clone Wars and how she likes to sort of bust in and jump down from a ceiling. You know, she was like a changed person. And I haven't watched Rebels, so that's a shortcoming in my like perception of this episode as a whole, because there's a lot of tie-in. But or I've watched like the first season of Rebels, so not much of Ahsoka or Thrawn. But it really like the way that they did her just style of like existing in the world, it just like it grabbed my heart right away. I was like, oh, this is cool. I like her. This is like a different Ahsoka. And then like the Beskar staff fight, I thought was just, it moved so slow, and I was like, this is intense and interesting, but I'm like, is this gonna go somewhere? Like, when are we gonna find out what this lady's deal is? It was like building tension to the point where it's like, you don't need to build any more tension. You've got the tension. Give me the money. Like, so those were my criticisms on like the pace almost. But in terms of the story, I thought it was really great. My one thing, also my lingering question is, who is that Jedi gonna be? I assume everyone's already asked this question, and sorry I'm late to the party, but yeah, who's that Jedi gonna be? And immediately my thought was Cal Kestis, and I was like, oh, they're gonna find a way to bring him in. That's cool. And then I forgot
we
Luke
all
was
have
around.
different theories, wildly different.
Okay, good. I'm glad I'm not the only one who's a little lost on that. But yeah, I was just like, oh, it's gonna be Cal. Okay, interesting. I don't know why he would be better at training a person who's attached than Ahsoka, but whatever. And then I was like, oh, yeah, you know who else exists is Luke Skywalker, and perhaps he's best suited for that. And then that made me think, if Baby Yoda gets killed by damn Kylo Ren in the Jedi Temple, I'm gonna freak out.
It's gonna make the sequel so much better.
Yeah.
My only issue with Cal Kestis would be the accessibility. With, you know, a lot of people can do their research on you know, watching Rebels or watching any of the other ones, but there's a lot of people who just can't, don't have the coordination or anything to get through a video game. That one might be a little bit like, oh, you want to get some information to Cal Kestis? Oh, jump a little higher, you know.
Wikipedia.
Yeah, that one might be a bit unfair.
Play Dark Souls Star Wars real quick.
You know what though? I still hesitate, because I mean, yeah, they could easily get Cameron Monaghan, I think his name is.
Yeah.
He's not gonna say no. B, you could give enough context. You don't have to give the whole story from the game, but you can give enough context to make it make sense.
You'll have to age him up, though.
Yeah, you can age him up, but I don't think that's gonna
Like
be
Back to the
difficult.
Future style.
I don't know if we're close enough to him yet for him to be his trainer, you know?
Yeah. I want a grizzled Quinlan Voss to show up. That's what I want. Especially if you guys read Dark Disciple, like, because he survived. He has seen some stuff. He knows attachment. God, does he know attachment? Rest in peace.
I didn't even think about
Asajj.
that, but I would literally die. If Quinlan Voss shows up, that's it. I will simply pass away. I'm done.
I just think the biggest thing right now that like theory wise is the Loth Cat. Just the fact that the Loth Cat, for the ones that haven't watched Rebels, don't understand it as much. But just the fact that the Loth Cat's there says a lot about who may show up, and the name drop as well.
I didn't even notice that. I didn't even think of that as like a connecting factor. I was just like, that looks.
I'm not trying to spoil
in the realistic CG.
I'm not trying to spoil Rebels, but Dave Filoni's working on the show. A Loth Cat showed up. Morai's there. Ahsoka's there. The Rebels sequel series is coming out very soon.
Really quick.
And they did drop Thrawn as a name, which if Thrawn is around, Thrawn was
no spoiler. There will be. I'm just warning spoilers for people who haven't seen Rebels.
Yeah.
So tonight,
really quick, who is Morai?
Rebels.
Morai. So if you watched Clone Wars and you saw the Mortis arc, Ahsoka died. They transferred the life of the daughter into Ahsoka. And after that point, there was like this owl that has the same coloring as the daughter, and it always follows Ahsoka, and it's just always there. It was visible in this episode. It's visible throughout Rebels.
I didn't see Morai in this episode.
Yeah, Morai
that's
was
what.
there.
It's around 15:30. Look towards the left side of the screen on a branch.
She already has it.
I saw the owl, but I didn't make any connection. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, look, an owl. That's pretty cool. Some world building of the flora and fauna.
It's heavy in Rebels. They did it in the last episode of Clone Wars. I had my house, you got to keep all the lights on and you can't see shit on the TV. And this episode was not the episode to watch like that. So dark.
I usually watch it at college because I'm at college, and I'm watching it downstairs on my family room TV because my dad fell asleep in the guest bedroom watching TV. So I was on the really, really bad TV and I couldn't see anything.
Hey, it's an excuse to watch it again, which I'm always looking for.
I will be doing Fire TV that just makes everything dark on Disney Plus for some reason.
It just, but with Loth Cat as Loth Cat, Thrawn, Ahsoka, Morai, it just kind of all adds up. My question is like, I'm not going to go into details, is the storyline, if Ezra does show up, how does that story get retroactively?
Yeah.
There's, and that's my thing. That's why it can't be, at least it's not going to happen in this season. It would work very well if that reveal happens next season and we get the Rebels sequel in between the two.
Even then, that's so much stuff that's
confirmed, or are we just?
I haven't heard it confirmed. I don't know if Jordan has some extra sauce on it, but actually, while we're at it, Jordan, like closing thoughts.
Genuine concern. Just, I mean, I don't want to be like the damper on everything, but just
it's a very fair
the show
and valid concern.
What was that?
Sure.
What'd you say?
Me?
Yeah, I just didn't hear.
Oh yeah, I was saying, I mean, I was like, I don't share it as much, but it is a damn valid concern to have.
Yeah.
I'm just concerned because I am not a fan of Marvel. I don't like Marvel. I don't. The thing I like about Star Wars is if you want to go deeper, you can go deeper, and it's never going to affect your issue on the story. Like, you're always going to know what Star Wars is.
Mm-hmm.
With the Bad Batch and their Star Wars wants a TV show every single quarter for Disney Plus. With the Mandalorian, with Bo-Katan, with Ahsoka, with the Rebel sequel series eventually happening, with the new video games, us being even saying, oh, Kel Kestis may show up in the Mandalorian. Is this a show about the Mandalorian or a show about the world and building it? And are the characters we came to know and love now just plot points? And this show has no direction, in my opinion. Then again, this is Dave Filoni, and his shows, the first 2 seasons, usually have no direction, but you just kind of go within the world builds into an amazing show.
Yeah, I feel like there's definitely, like, it's possible, but I also definitely feel like we don't know where it could go, and he could have a masterful plan for why he's doing all of this.
And
you know?
yeah, and then like for the rest of the closing thoughts is, and I think this is something that like I thought the moment Thrawn got announced, like I was very excited. I'm like, wait a second, if Thrawn is in this show, right? There's only one way he can get tied into the Mandalorian, and that's being above Moff Gideon. I said this before the episode. I said I feel like Thrawn's getting announced, and if Thrawn gets announced, he's above Moff Gideon and directing everything for Moff Gideon, and he's just a pawn. But we haven't even developed Moff Gideon's character yet.
Yeah.
And is it too soon to even bring Ahsoka in? You know? It's like, if you guys watch any of the content I make, like, I love Ahsoka. I love the Clone Wars. Like, that's what I grew up on. I didn't grow up on the movies. I grew up on Clone Wars. I watched the movies because of the Clone Wars. But, like, is it too soon? You know? Like, just to even put Thrawn's name in it.
I gotta say no, but sorry, I didn't mean to.
No, I understand that.
I thought you were tapering off. I
oh no, the last thing I was gonna say is like, I'm optimistic. I've liked the thing with Mandalorian is the last like thing, because I can go on this forever. I like individual episodes. I can't tie them together because if I shuffled them up, it'd be the exact same show, and the order of the episodes don't even matter at this point. At least to me. It's very hard to create the cohesive story with what we have right now.
Okay. Yeah, and I definitely see that.
If I may say something to that, it's picture a train, okay? You have the caboose and you have the engine and you have all the cars in between, and they're all just connected by one little rod, but they're linear. And that's what this show is to me, is that, yeah, every episode is encapsulated in its own little thing, like a James Bond movie. And it's super entertaining. When I was growing up, I would watch James Bond with my dad all the time. I never understood what was happening or why or how the movies connected. There was a deeper subtext that I just didn't get, but I loved watching them. And that's what this show really is. But for the people who want to dig deeper, that connection is there. And so every episode really is linearly connected in a chronological way, like a train. And some people don't like that, but that's kind of how the structure is, as far as I see it.
Yeah, that's just personal preference.
Yeah, I also think as far as the personal and character growth of Mando is definitely staying strong in this, which is one of the big things I care about, is with all this spectacle. I think they're doing a great job of giving Mando a place to start, a bunch of obstacles, and a place to end. And for me, that's sort of all I look for in storytelling. So I'm optimistic towards that. But I totally feel you on the CU-ness, and I love Marvel, but just that is like, it's like, okay, that opens a whole new conversation.
Like, this has gotten me wanting to watch, like, actually sit down and finally watch Clone Wars and push myself through the stuff that's not as great from what I've heard. But
I can't do D Squad. I know, Jordan, you love it. I can't do D Squad.
I think it's some of my favorite Star Wars ever made. I don't know why. I just haven't... When that blue title card comes on for absolutely no reason, it does something. I don't know why. It's the dumbest thing you'll ever watch.
Is steel cut oats for Star Wars, and you're eating it, and you're like, "This is just. If I just think about it as fuel for my body, I can eat it." But that's what it is.
It's so bad, but it's so good. And the 3 title cards in Clone Wars are the regular every episode Clone Wars, red for Darth Maul, and blue for D Squad. And I don't get it. And I just love it.
And it's a nod to George Lucas, who originally wanted the first 30 to 40 minutes of A New Hope to just be R2-D2 and C-3PO wandering in the desert. That's what George Lucas wanted.
we've all
And
learned
that
to love
desire is
and accept.
reflected in the 30 minutes of Wookiee gibberish in the Star Wars holiday specials.
Exactly. That was the
D-Squad
first
is-
live I jumped in on yours was that. And
D Squad is so bad.
Did you see I got banned from doing live because I was streaming the Star Wars holiday special and they came
Well,
on to
yeah.
the grandpa doing his VR? Like,
I mean, the grandpa was getting his rocks off though.
yeah. So we got to horny Grandpa Chewbacca and then the live just shuts down and it says live is banned. And I'm like,
Really? Because
what?
that's when you're getting there. Oh, that's when it really gets going, is with horny grandpa.
I have a bunch of
before
It's
you
called
start
teetering.
With D Squad, the story isn't quite as bad as my intense hatred for that little green man whose name I refuse to remember.
The
hate
military
him.
guy?
Yes, I
I'm
can't
forgetting
stand
this.
him.
Sorry.
Gregor, love Gregor.
Love
Sweet
Gregor.
Stan Gregor. He's one of my favorite clones. But is it
The
is
fact
it
that he shows up in
Neighbor
Rebels-
Gascon? I hate that man. I hate him.
I also purge it from my memory. I looked it up because I was just in Star Wars trivia recently. And I was like, they gotta ask this question. They didn't, and then my brain just deleted it.
The fact that we spent 10 minutes talking about D Squad on your podcast that one time and all we could do is just die laughing was great.
I showed that episode to my girlfriend because she's a really memey person and loves everything droids in Star Wars. But her favorite is, and I forget what they're called, little dudes with the one eye.
Whack droids.
They were fucking up Mando's ships. What are they called?
Whack droids.
She loves them. For some reason, she just wants little merchandise of those dudes. I don't know why. She hasn't even watched all the prequels and she loves them. So I watched that with her, and the pure childish joy that episode brought made me love D Squad.
I mean, just watching them get sucked into a pod racer's engine is good enough for me. Anakin Williams, can we hear you?
I love the episode. I didn't get all the deep cuts since I haven't seen the shows, but I really did like how they emphasized her fear of, like Ted was talking or saying, of her fear of another Jedi going down the wrong path because of bad training or what have you. But honestly, I'm looking forward to the rest of the season, because if they brought out their two biggest reveals halfway through,
I know.
What do they have in store for us for the rest of the season? I mean, of course, Gideon. Hopefully, we have a lot more of that. I mean, personally, I'd like to see more Amy Sedaris because she's one of my favorite comedians. But I don't know how they would tie her back in. But I just can't wait to see what they have in store for us.
Speaking of comedians, did Bill Burr just pull everyone out of the episode every time he spoke? I couldn't.
Oh, and the Jason Sudeikis thing was the funniest thing in that entire season. What?
Bill Burr in his New York accent.
Yeah.
I don't know why. For me, it worked. It didn't pull me out of the episode.
I mean, I liked it, but
yeah, I thought, hey, it makes sense.
Well, I'm a big
Star
fan.
Ginger,
I mean, he's,
I love Stormtrooper cameos, like Carl Urban being one of the ones who's like, those guys are so cool when the Knights of Ren walk by on the ship. I love those so much.
Ghouls.
I just think like my favorite cameo so far has been, because I love the IT crowd, and Moss from IT crowd was the droid on that prison episode, and it just made me laugh every time he spoke, because that's the only, like, the droid spoke and I was like, Moss?
I'm trying to remember back, which Stormtrooper was Jason Sudeikis? Was he the one that was holding Baby Yoda, or was he the other one?
He was the one.
He was the one not punching it.
Okay.
Not punching him.
You hit it pretty hard.
My favorite cameo is the one that Tom Hardy did that they had to cut because he was being too Tom Hardy.
Oh, go on.
It's literally they had
in The
to
Last
cut it.
Jedi.
They're going like this like the whole time in a stormtrooper suit. It makes me so happy.
You're like, because every
It's just
Tom
everyone
Hardy thing ever, like the camera has to follow him over his tracks as he's walking through like a place, and you're like, all right,
he's
come on.
forever Bane, is what he is.
Yeah.
I also just really appreciate the way
Listen.
that Ed Sheeran got himself into every major franchise in a single year. Like, he was a stormtrooper in Rise of Skywalker. He was in Game of Thrones. He just kept showing up absolutely everywhere. And he was like, hi.
Wait, where was he in Rise of Skywalker?
He was one of the stormtroopers. So was Lin-Manuel Miranda.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to look into this. I did not know that.
Lin-Manuel Miranda was one of the rebels. He's
One of the
like,
rep-
Oh yeah, he was
they
a
cut
rebel.
to, because I remember that specifically. They cut to the kiss with Commander DAC and her girlfriend, and then there's like Lin-Manuel Miranda in the background, like, hey, what's going on?
And it's like, why are you here? I don't.
He couldn't be a stormtrooper because he doesn't throw away his shot.
That's just terrible, but I love it and I appreciate it. That is my humor.
I mean, I'm based off of what you guys have said about like the threads connecting everything together and how it makes the most sense for Ezra to show up. One, I'm not like 100% sold on whether there will be a Jedi that shows up. You know, maybe, Grogu. I keep accidentally saying Goku. I'm so sorry. I can't say it without laughing because I almost say Goku. every
Also,
time.
gonna ask, what do you think of the name?
I think it's cute. I was like
love it.
dreading it there being a name for him, and then when they said it, I was like, oh, that works. Like, yeah, I don't know. At least it's not Yaddle 2.0, like something wonky like that. You know, they're not trying to play off
When
of.
she first said it, I thought that she was saying what his species was. I didn't realize it was his name, and I got really excited. I was like, "Are we finally gonna get to know?" But then he was like, "Grogu," and I was like,
Yeah.
"Oh, that's adorable. It's weird, and I love it. It's so
Yeah,
doesn't
exactly.
work
It fits
Yeah.
at
him.
the same time."
It
I
suits-
agree.
I
That's the-
enjoyed it. But the one thing that I was thinking about as you guys were talking, somebody said something about like, if they put those two big reveals in the middle of the season, imagine what they have coming. And I just can't imagine Ezra is the big reveal. I can't imagine he's a bigger reveal than Ahsoka, to be honest. So I'm like,
He's not.
at that
Unless
point,
they get Dev Patel.
yeah, at that point I'm like,
I mean,
it's gotta
I
be
just
Luke.
think-
Like they have to, otherwise it's like a poorly structured season.
And
I
Joan
feel if they're
Cumberbatch
not
as
constantly
Thrawn.
building to bigger.
Yeah, please, Benedict Cumberbatch is Thrawn.
Oh my god.
It's gonna be Josh Brolin.
Benedict Cumberbatch.
Thranos.
You know who would be a great Thrawn? Christian Bale.
Jeff Goldblum.
Jim Carrey.
I would love to see Jeff Goldblum as
Matthew Morrison.
Jedi.
Oh, Matthew Morrison.
Yes. Hello. I'm Admiral Thrawn.
I
You guys
believe
are
that.
spooky. Do you hear the vampire music? Ooh, yes.
It was a real great
Yes,
revolution. You
been
can't have
there.
a revolution without somebody to, rebel against. So I think we all did a really good job.
No, that brings another point though, because what if there is no other
Fassbender
Jedi?
could do
What
it
if-
as well.
What if they get to Typhon and he chooses whatever path? Like as you said, he chooses his own path. What if he chooses not to reach out with the Force and to want to stay with Mando, and there's just no other Jedi?
Yeah, at the same time, I
Just a
can't
Mandalorian.
imagine what the Mandalorian will be if Grogu is not hanging
Oh.
out with. I can't imagine it would continue to succeed if there's no Baby
Yeah,
Yoda.
No.
They
As
made
soon
a
as the
wrong-
child
The
leaves, the
second
show
Baby Yoda
ends.
leaves, it's gonna-
Yeah.
The promise of the premise was made.
I'm excited. I mean, I hope they get to Tython and find people there, and that's where the next thing goes. Is like you go to Tython. It's because it's been so many years since I've read Dawn of the Jedi. I was rereading it and then I stopped because we started doing other things, so I'll have to go back. But who knows? They may find a civilization there, or maybe he reaches out in the Force and the person that comes to him is Sith. I don't know. There's so there's still so
Personally,
many.
I'm hoping for some kind of Mother Talzin reveal.
Well,
When he was saying who, sorry, when Ahsoka was saying who is your master, I was wanting her to say Talon, I was like, say Talon, say Talon, say Talon, please.
Oh.
But
Plot twist, Darth Maul's fine, and he just shows up somehow.
oh man.
Well, I think we can all agree that at least the child's name isn't Yodel.
Yes.
Exactly.
Oh no,
Okay.
that would have been so bad.
Do we have are there any other Jedi? We've got Luke, Leia, Quinlan Vos, possibly Ezra. Are there any others?
Cal?
Yeah.
Now,
Cal Kestis.
Okay.
Mace Windu.
Maybe.
I feel like there's more.
Depending on what.
I'm convinced that I'm convinced that the guy in jeans and a polo shirt in the background of the last episode is a
Oh,
Jedi.
yeah.
They could come back. Marquez
Crazy thing. Just hear me out. Force ghosts.
If he does that on Tython, the Force would probably be strong enough for a Force Ghost to manifest there.
What if Darth
Force
Vader
Ghost Yoda?
real
Wow.
intense redemption arc with Hayden Christensen teaching Baby Yoda not to follow in the steps of himself?
Or Obi-Wan.
Or Obi-Wan.
I think
I was
Qui-Gon.
gonna say Obi-Wan, but just
Would be-
imagine Hayden Christensen, Mandalorian, on Tython, Typhon.
It's a bit much.
It's a bit much, but one can hope.
I mean, it could be worse. Like, what if Jesus showed up and everyone's like, the hell?
Hey, look, at the rate the
like
show's
it's
going,
Obi-Wan
Space
now.
Jesus.
Like, if it is Obi-Wan, then that's a good tie-in for the Obi-Wan Kenobi TV series, and that's a good way to like get the hype going. So
But I
Makes
just
sense.
Alec Guinness would be the Obi-Wan I would want to see doing that.
yeah,
I want to see him saying Grogu. You know, like, Grogu, use the Force with your 3 little fingers.
I think that if they're gonna do Force Ghosts, they're gonna do Qui-Gon, because even Liam Neeson came back for the Clone Wars.
mm-hmm.
And
So
Rise of
He
Skywalker.
loves Star Wars. He loves Qui-Gon Jinn.
I mean, it would make sense because he was like the pioneer of Force Ghosts that we saw
Right.
in the whole
Which
series.
still doesn't make sense to me, but
You know, we're just gonna
Yeah.
let it happen. It's
I'm putting
fine.
all my
Love
money-
it.
The midichlorians.
I mean, I
Galactus,
can
he's
get
just
into
gonna ship
that,
up.
but we probably don't want to right now.
Did someone just say Tori Amos?
No, I said Galactus because of the Fortnite thing that's happening right now and how they did Fortnite last season or whatever. He's just gonna show up somehow.
Just
Fortnite's
remember,
ruining it again.
if you buy anything from Fortnite, you get Disney Plus for free.
I mean, the Palpatine voice reveal was in Fortnite, so it's not
Oh,
That's true.
uncharacteristic. So
that
was
cool.
I need them to stop making skins that I don't care about and give me an Ant-Man skin. That's all I want at this point. I've been waiting for it for 14 weeks and they won't give it to me.
I got Venom. I'm happy. I'm never buying a skin.
You know what?
Oh,
Wait,
wait, that's a
Okay.
skin? That might make me play. I've only played 3 rounds of that game. I won the 3rd round I ever played and then like gave up.
They
Yeah,
have
they-
Doom and Venom. Just come play.
Oh, I want like them to have some sort of conflict and like Ahsoka goes to Tython and then his Force Ghost shows up and he's like, "Oh, you brought the citizen." Tell her to take a seat over there.
Why wasn't
We got
this episode titled The Citizen?
Well,